Hi everyone, this is Lori from More Art from the Heart, here with another project for you. I'm getting ready to do a bazaar at the end of the year, so I have to come up with ideas for things to make and sell in it. It's kind of a shabby chic vintage type bazaar. I've also been collecting Scrabble tiles for many years, and I think I have enough now to actually work with and do something. So I've come up with this idea to take the actual Scrabble tile little racks that come in the game and place the tiles on them in name form. I'm calling them name plates for lack of a better title. I'm going to use these to pair them with the different types of wooden textured frames that I'm doing. I only have a few of the frames right here in this video to show you because they're in various stages of the plaster drying on them or being painted or flowers being placed on them. But I thought there's enough of them here to give you an idea of what I am doing with them. Now they're actually going to be sold individually, the nameplates and the picture frames, so they can be mix and match type items sold that way. This one here is Friends, and it's got the pearls, and I also put some pearls down in the nameplate. What I use to texture all the frames and the name tiles are here is the nail hole patch, but it's actually just a wall plaster is what I use. It's inexpensive and I have a lot of it. I like Beacon's 3-in-1 at glue because it just about glues anything down. I glimmer mist everything. There's a white acrylic paint that I painted over. I've used some of my laces and ribbons in my stash. I also have some of these little vials right there you see in the picture that I actually sell on my ArtFire store. The link will be down below for that. There on the far right you see a spool of craft trim. That is kind of I don't know how to describe it. It's very stiff. It's kind of like woven little tweed type stuff. It's wonderful for giving texture to things. The roses that I have are I Am Roses in most of the video. There's also some little tiny roses that I had in my stash. I like to have everything finished at the back of the projects and the fronts of the projects. So inside behind the glass I have taken plain white cardstock and used my Darcy embossing folder and run it through and gave the background texture to the paper and put that in the frames. Now here it is, the wooden frame. I've got the texture, just kind of blotted it on with a sponge all around, and it works great to actually adhere the things down with. So that's what I've done here. The roses here, I'm placing them to see if I like the roses there. I've taken and painted the roses white along with their leaves were too bright green for me, so I actually have them painted a little white, and I've put a little texture also on the flowers. Here I've placed the flowers for this frame up there just to see if this is what I like, and then I took them back off. And here you see I've painted the whole thing completely white. I always make sure that the plaster and the texture stuff on there is completely dry before I paint so that things stick well to it. Here again you can see the flowers with a little bit of their texture, and this one is the frame that has the pearls coming down the side of it. And here it is again, you get to see the Scrabble tile with the word friends on it. I did the same thing with that. I took the wall plaster and actually used it to put the tiles down on the holder. I've painted each of the Scrabble tiles first with white. Just put it on really lightly, careful not to cover up the actual letters on the tiles, but still give it enough of a look there. And then I've let that dry and put the paint on. This one here says Sisters. I've added some little flowers and pearl sprays. I also sell those in my ArtFire store. I've got an XOXO. Get a closer look here. The little vial there, I actually have a little love note inside that curled up with a little white rose. I try to make sure that I finish the fronts and the backs of everything, so I've textured and painted even the back and the bottom of it. Behind the heart, I wanted it to look like wings, you know. So I've taken the lace that I had there in that other part of the video, and I've actually cut out what you see right here to make it look like it has wings in behind there, and I painted that with some of the acrylic paint, so it kind of stiffened them up. Here you can kind of see as you look down on it. I like how the letters are kind of offset too. Thought that gave it a nice look. You see here where the texturing is and the painting is, and I did put glimmer mist over everything except the glass vial so that you can still see through that, but everything else has a glimmer mist over it. I like that shiny look to it. And you see the little rose curled up around with the little ribbon. Here's another look at some of the different tiles. I like the XOXO, so I made a couple different of the same thing. Same with sisters and friends. I've got several of those. Family. Use the same type of roses on there. Again, these are some of the flowers from my ArtFire store. And these will all be, each Scrabble name plate will be sold individually. My love. I even put little keys, painted some of the Tim Holt keys that I had. This is another idea that I came up with. My friend Melissa, that's doing the bazaar with me, had these chalkboards, and they actually have some kind of writing on them that we couldn't get off, but it kind of made them look kind of vintage anyway with the writing on there, so we just left it on. And she had this idea to cut she said she'd saw, I think on Pinterest, to cut the Scrabble tile holder in half, and we glued it right there on the bottom. I actually have some chalk to put on that so that they'll be able to buy it with the chalk attached to it. On the side there you can see I've hung some baubles, little pencil, a few other things like that, and I've taken the Scrabble tiles and inked around the edges of them. So here's what I came up with. Thank you for sharing your time with me. Have a great day.